Hello, good afternoon. So, welcome to the session. Today, we'll be discussing some of the topics that has happened in the last week. So, hope the voice is okay, it is audible. And we'll start with the first topic, polity topic itself. Recently, there was a news on the term called as, yes, all of you are very good afternoon who are joining as of now. So, yes. So, the term anticipatory bail, this is some voice is not audible. Okay, give me a minute. Is it audible now? Yes. Okay. So the term anticipatory bail. So when it comes to polity, we know that definitely the terminologies can be asked and recent verdicts of Supreme Court can be asked. So here, be the case, anything, let it be the case, any related to any simple matter. It can be about the private party or let it be regarding the government. When it narrows down to the question or the question paper, questions will be asked on the terminologies mentioned in the news. Okay, so let's look into this. What exactly the Supreme Court says regarding this bail mean? Hopefully, all of you might have come across the term bail. What is bail? What is the idea of bail? And what is this anticipatory bail? Or before that, let's understand the word. What is anticipatory mean? Anticipatory means expecting, expected, right? So let's look into the report first, then we will understand this in a better way. The Supreme Court on Monday ruled that a sessions court or the high court in a state can grant limited anticipatory bail to an accused through the FIR which is registered outside their jurisdiction. That means a recent verdict said that outside the jurisdiction of the police, I mean, what do you call as the police station, wherein anticipatory bail can be granted. And this was recently mentioned in a what do you call as regarding many cases. One of the cases that was handled in Karnataka, recent case that was handled in Karnataka. So the question directly will be diverted into the concept of what is anticipatory bail. Okay, what is anticipatory bail? And we will also see the more takeaways from this particular news. So anticipatory bail is the bail granted to a person in anticipation and apprehending arrest. Means those who are in or expecting, what do you call as expecting an arrest, maybe falsely accused or accused, being an accused, and in order to safeguard themselves under the legal provision, this can be considered or this can be granted to a person by the court. So under the section 438 of CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code, today the CRPC is called as what? Now today a bill is being passed, the discussion is happening on three, what do you call as courts, criminal courts, law in India, right? We have seen this in the previous sessions also. Can you tell me what is the other name of CRPC, if at all, when it is passed? What it be termed as? We have one is IPC, we have one more is Indian Evidence Act, one more is CRPC, right? Meanwhile, while you answer, you can, I mean, what do you call as? Listen, you can think over it. Now, no, tell me the other name of CRPC, wherein which is proposed name. Instead of we are removing this term and what do you call as a new terminology is given. So you can answer that also. So the application shall be made to the High Court or Sessions Court where the crime is alleged to be committed. Okay, so those who are in or those who want to take up this anticipatory bail, application shall be made to the High Court or Sessions Court. These are the takeaways from the news we are understanding. I think you got an idea what is anticipatory bail. Anticipation is waiting. The person is not been arrested. Okay, the person is not been arrested. Prior to arrest itself, the bail is granted to a person. Especially this happens when any party is apprehending or expecting an arrest because of any accusations or allegations. So anticipatory bail is bail before the arrest, and police can't arrest an individual if the court has granted anticipatory bail. So this we can call it as protection against the arrest. Okay, so it is meant to be a safeguard for a person who has false accusation or charges made against him or her, most commonly due to professional or personal enmity, as it ensures the release of the falsely accused person even before he or she is arrested. So simply for the sake of anybody asks for anticipatory bail, court will not actually grant. If the accusations are made based on professional enmity, personal enmity, and there are chances because of this, an arrest warrant can be initiated and a person is arrested. If a person is expecting an arrest, any party can apply for this anticipatory bail. Here the takeaway should be, again, remember, already we know that when it comes to reading news or understanding or keeping up the pace with current affairs, it is very bulky, it is very vast. So first thing you have to understand is what is the right thing to be grasped from the newspaper or from the news. Do not make you yourself carried away with too many facts, unnecessary facts, which diverts you from the exam orientation. Basically, stick to the terminologies, especially in politics. Stick to the terminologies given in the news and try to connect that with your static polity part. Okay, now if it is not static polity part, we are speaking about something regarding bail, and which is also the provision under CRPC. So where we can connect this topic to? We can connect this to the 3 bills that is being passed, or the discussion that is happening. Maybe in a way it will be associated to that. Until now, regarding bail, I'm not sure. Maybe news on FIR or all these legal as provisions, what a person, a common citizen can get, that we see continuously in news because of the Supreme Court's verdict. So make sure that you have an awareness about it. Awareness is important. Basic questions can be asked, or maybe remotely connected topics of the polity can be asked instead of this, because this is not something new. This is not a very rare news or unique news wherein UPSC is like considers it to be a potential questioning area. This is for your awareness. Plus, we have to try to associate with the other current affairs topic or the static part. Here, as I've told you, focus on those 3 bills. Okay, what is that? Indian Evidence Act. Then we have IPC, Indian Penal Code. Then CRPC. This is what your association should be. In the news again, in the report again, we also had a concept called as transit anticipatory bill. Transit anticipatory bill. So a transit means moving. In transit, we say it is moving. So a transit anticipatory bill is sought when a case against a person has been or is likely to be filed in a state different from the one in which the person is likely to be arrested. When person is in one place, case is filed in a different state altogether, there also there is a provision called as transit anticipatory bail. Getting it? So when a case against a person which is filed in a different state, and where the person, if the person is in Karnataka, the case is filed in Kerala or Tamil Nadu, let's say that. In such cases also bail is granted, and that bail is called as transit anticipatory bail. That is the meaning of it. Now, what are the other takeaways from the news here? The purpose of why the court can grant transit anticipatory bail. So it is to allow the person bail so that they can approach the appropriate court in the state which the case has been filed for anticipatory bail, where they have asked for what you call as this anticipatory bail. They can approach the appropriate court, right court, because case is somewhere, bail is granted elsewhere, and the person, accused person is elsewhere, petitioner is in a totally different place. In order to avoid this hassle, this provision is there. Then, in the absence of transit anticipatory bail, the result would be that another state's police could arrest the person from their home state without them having the opportunity to apply for anticipatory bail at all. What is the trouble, if at all, if this is the condition? The accused and the complainant is in totally two different states. What happens if there is no transit anticipatory bail? What happens is police of another state can arrest a person from their home state. So there will be no chance to apply for anticipatory bail also. So this is kind of a safeguard or a protection when such things happen between two states. Then the procedure to be followed in transit anticipatory bail is exactly the same way, no other different provision or what we call as procedure. The concept of transit anticipatory bail is not codified in Indian law, but has found its identity through judicial practice and legal precedents. This is the last line you have to focus on. Whereas anticipatory bail has its presence or has its mention in CRPC, transit anticipatory bail has not found or not been mentioned in any of the Indian law. Keep this in mind. Maybe in one of the statements, there is a possibility. Transit anticipatory bail is under the provision of CRPC or anything, IPC. There is a possibility. This is what you call as due process of law. Through the judicial practice, through the legal precedents, in that way also a concept can be brought in. So this provision is because of or is through the due process of law or through the judicial practice, this came into being. Or else there is no such thing, no provision under Indian law. This is the main bottom line or takeaway from this article should be. Okay, so I hope you might have come across this. This article was on Indian Express basically. Here you have to go back to as I told you, what is bail and what is the difference between anticipatory bail is like any for criminal case or maybe any civil case. How bail is granted, there is a procedure, legal procedure. Okay, so nowhere that kind of questions will be asked. That's for your awareness, unless law is your optionals or you're really intrigued into it, or it's not required. The tricky part of the options would be it is present, there is a provision, there is no provision, there is a mention of this word, there is no mention of such word. These are the patterns we see throughout the years. In prelims, if you see especially, the options look like this, wherein one of the terminologies will be taken and the question will be asked whether it is mentioned in the constitution or it is said there is no reference of this word in the constitution. Such words will be there or such options will be there. Can you give me some examples wherein we use it? It has been practiced through legal precedents in the sense previous cases or judicial practice, but there is no mention of it in the constitution or Indian law. Can there be any examples? Can you tell me any examples? Or I'll leave it to you. If you are taking time, just make a note of it. Any such terminologies, terms we use in polity, but in constitution there is no such provision, but it came into vogue only because because of the usage, because of the judicial process, or certain times like this. There will be words mentioned in the constitution, but there will be no definition of saying what it is exactly. Say for example, basic structure. Is basic structure defined in the constitution? Yes. You can be interactive. I'm just keeping a tab on live session also. So I expect you to be interactive. No. Likewise, are you getting the idea? So such topics, such news, this should be the takeaway. Okay. Yes. So moving on, we'll speak about a program, government's program. This will come under governance. Okay, this will come under governance. Sathi program, sophisticated analytical and technical help institutes. We will see what is this, what is the report all about, and the basic features of this. Okay, the news is regarding recently the centers moved to cancel a call for proposals under Department of Science and Technology's Sati program. So that we understand, Sati program is an initiative under Department of Science and Technology. Okay, so has sparked fears among higher education institutions. So there is a worry for researchers. Cancellation of notification for DST scheme, that is this scheme, Sati scheme, has become what do you call as a concern to the researchers. Why it is a concern? What is the scheme all about? Let's see. Okay, so the scheme was launched in the year 2020 with the prime goal of establishing centers to house major analytical instruments that can be shared among institutions while reaching out to less endowed organizations. The scheme is all about there will be centers or analytical instruments, especially if at all one organization or one institution requires certain instruments, devices, or any technical help or analytical help from different department. Okay, they can reach out to less endowed organization. Less endowed means less funded, less financed organization. So it is basically sharing of technical help and analytical help among the organizations, among the foundations, or among the institutions. This was a scheme. Now there is a cancellation to cancel the proposal under this department, and this would affect the higher education institutions who has what you call as less fund, not so well developed or well equipped lab or any devices that helps in. Basically it is regarding this scientific, because it comes under DST, the Department of Science and Technology. Now the news is very simple. DST or Department of Science and Technology has been, the notification for this particular program has been cancelled recently. Now what is the concern? So the research, we know that for any scientific research it takes number of years, right? Many number of years, wherein what you call as maybe the expected output may not come, but still scientists or research scholars or researchers invest their time and energy continuously through on a particular project or a research work, and it definitely requires fund, right? Financial mechanism, plus any instruments it is required, any machinery it is required, any installations that is much needed. Just because we have this intellectual capacity, research will not happen on its own. There are other factors also, external factors also. That is the reason government launched this program, so that there can be sharing or helping, or what kind of help we are talking about, analytical and technical help. So we will see the features of this. Okay, what is this scheme all about? Once you understand the scheme, hope you'll get the point what I'm telling you. So it is an initiative by the Department of Science and Technology to boost access to research and testing facilities and address the problems of accessibility, maintenance, redundancy, and duplication of expensive equipment in the institution. Let me explain this to you. So there is an institution A and institution B. Okay, institution B, especially for scientific research, has private basically has enough funding, enough sponsors, enough what you call as testing facilities, lab facilities, and everything, equipments and everything. But this is, I'm talking about institution A. Institution B do not have, or it might have what you call as, it is just bringing certain equipments at the lower prices, which is actually a duplicated one, and you cannot afford this risk of buying something in duplicate for a authentic scientific research. This would not work. So it is to, if now the institution B do not have an access to all this, it can reach out to institution A asking for the help, because this is one scientific community. That is why the program name is Sati. What is Sati? Sati means a friend, helping, or going together. So it is not that the one particular institution has to get a name in any research, because it is one scientific community, as I've told you. so they can reach out. Ultimately, it should contribute to society or to mankind. That is the main objective of science or any scientific experiment in general. Correct. So that is the idea of Sati program. Hope you got the idea, the objective. Then it aims to set up a the word shared, professionally managed science and technology infrastructure facility which can be readily accessible to academia, startups, manufacturing units, industries, and R&D labs. So these are the groups, these are the stakeholders. To anyone and anywhere they can access through this Sati initiative. So the term itself suggests sophisticated analytical and technical help institute. These centers will be equipped with major analytical instruments and advanced manufacturing facilities, which are usually not available at institutes and organizations. So this is a network. So this Sati Institute is a network wherein, if at all, let's say, now A will deny, A is not giving, A is not ready to share its, what do you call as, equipments or testing facilities with B. Now, the next chance is, there is this institution that is Sati, which is what do you call as established by the Department of Science and Technology itself. So what is not available for the institutions and the organization outside, where they could not afford it, where they could not take it, this institute will make sure that it will find an organization which can share the resources. This is what Sati is all about. So what it will lead to, it would encourage and ensure the establishment of a national network of laboratories and testing facilities tightly linked to global standards. So very, very idealistic, very excellent program wherein it will promote, it will bring in this, what do you call as, a scientific temperament. Not only that, the spirit of getting into scientific research. Because most of the times, especially when it comes to scientists or especially in science and technology, lack of what do you call as, not motivation, lack of funds, lack of a platform, a particular platform to take up the research or to move forward, that is the main hindrance. So government is trying to bring up this program so that it can help out. So this is a major strength for many researchers. But now what is the news here? Cancellation of notification for DST scheme. So it is also mentioned that a section of the academic community suspect the move to be a precursor to the introduction of National Research Foundation, which will rely heavily on the private sector for investment to fund research. So academic community, which was there already by the government, now the notification has been cancelled. So the academic community is just guessing, suspecting. It is not the fact now, just suspecting that in future, like shortly, the government will be introducing a foundation called as National Research Foundation, which will rely heavily on the private sector for investment to fund research. Now, this is like government opening an avenue by introducing National Research Foundation, wherein private sectors can fund for scientific research. That is the reason maybe this program, this notification has been cancelled, is what the researchers are analyzing. Now already we have this, okay? There are two takeaways from this news. One is regarding, we will see in upcoming days whether we get more information about National Research Foundation. One is regarding National Research Foundation, or yet to see what is going to happen in the future days about this Sati program. Okay, this should be the takeaway. Hope you got an idea. This comes under governance. It can come under governance. Okay. Now, moving on to the next scheme. Again, one more under governance, that is PM Shri. PM Shri is regarding, you can see, if that is under Ministry of Education, this is under what do you call as, I'm sorry, that is under the Department of Science and Technology. This is under Ministry of Education. So the news is very simple. Recently, the Union Education Minister, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan, in Odisha has launched 37 Shri Kendriya Vidyalayas and 26 PM Shri Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalayas in Odisha. Not only that, PM Shri, under the program called as PM Shri. So we know this Navodaya and Kendriya Vidyalaya are kind of model schools, right? Model schools. So this has been recently launched in Odisha. Now coming to the scheme part. This has been launched under, or this has been these centers or the schools have been launched under a main umbrella scheme called as PM Shri, Pradhan Mantri Schools for Rising India. Odisha is just for the report sake. So we look into the features of the scheme. What is this scheme all about? Simple question can be asked. Consider the following statements with reference to PM Shri scheme and its features. 1 or 2 statements or 3 statements can be asked. Such kind of questions, there is a possibility. So we'll see that. PM Shri schools will showcase the implementation of National Education Policy 2020 and emerge as an exemplar. Exemplar, as I told you, model school. Exemplar means model school, right? Model school under the after the implementation of NEP, that is National Education Policy, which shapes the brighter future for students. So today, what do we call, like, what do you say in Kannada? We say Madari Shale. Madari Shale anta helthivi. So likewise, this is like a model school under a major scheme. From the exam perspective, we should be knowing the features. Which ministry? Always, whenever you come across a scheme, know under which ministry it's been launched. Okay, sometimes it is quite, you can guess it looking at the name of the scheme or maybe elaboration also. Certain times it is not possible. You can get confused also. So that is the reason you should always, first point you have to write down or you have to look into is which ministry any scheme comes under. Okay, yes, or it is being launched. So let's look into the key features. It is a centrally sponsored scheme announced in the year 2022, that is last year. Development, what is the objective? Development of more than 14,500 schools across the country by strengthening the existing schools among those managed by central government, state government, union territories, government and local bodies. Now, PM Shri schools are not one more extra new set of schools to be established. Remember that. PM Shri schemes about strengthening the already existing schools. Strengthening the already existing schools which are managed by government, not private. Not private. It is only the schools which have been established by the government, whether it is central government, like this, we have Kendriya Vidyalaya, or state government, as I told you, the model schools, or union territory, local bodies, anywhere. So they strengthen the existing schools. That's the idea. We already know the plight or the condition of before few years. If you say, or even today, maybe there is a notion when we say a government school, nobody wants to go to government school. But today, the government is taking such projects wherein to strengthen or remove that notion what people have. If you consider more of the schemes and facilities, government has more when compared to any private, when it comes to quality, when it comes to provisions in government schools. But already that is a stigma or a mindset that we have wherein government school is this, private school is, though it is not affordable also, people go for it. So that is the idea. Though it might has its very snail-like growth, very slow process. But ultimately, when you look into when you envision the idea of this PM Shri, it is all about to remove this notion in a way, this mindset, and also strengthen the existing schools. That is the main objective. Then it will nurture students in such a way that they become engaged, productive, and contributing citizens for building an equitable, inclusive, and plural society envisaged by National Education Policy. So we can see the implementation of NEP in these schools. And even when we say NEP, you should keep a tab on that also. There is a possibility of question of this based on National Education Policy in mains or again in prelims, the basic idea about it. So it is like holistic, it is kind of an holistic learning. NEP 2020 speaks about a holistic learning. So the same concept will be adapted or adopted here. So the duration of the scheme is from 2022 to 2026-27. This is the academic year we are talking about because it was launched in 2022. So 26-27. After which, until here, the government will strengthen. After which, it shall be the responsibility of the state or the union territories to continue and maintain the benchmarks achieved by the schools. Initially, the government will support or strengthen the existing schools by providing all kind of support, financial or maybe related to lab or anything, right? So that will be provided. After that, after 26-27 academic year, school has to maintain it. That is the idea about it. The selection of PM Shri schools will be done through challenge mode, wherein schools compete for support to become exemplar schools. This is also quite interesting. So it is not that every school in the state level or the state government owned schools or the central government schools will be coming under PM Shri. There is a concept called as challenge mode. What is challenge mode? They should make sure that how possibly or how are they being in, maybe in results, academic, maybe in extracurricular activities. So how are they already, what do you call as, maintained the goodwill of the school, or maybe the quality in the school, the learning quality in the school, everything has to be done really well, wherein only then the selection of this what do you call as, they can be considered or under the scheme called as PM Shri scheme. Okay, one might ask, without strengthening, how can we do it? In a given resources, in whatever resources they have, they should make sure that in what all the achievements of the school in the past few years, knowing that, assessing that through this challenge mode, it is like kind of a motivation, like a competition, right? Once they come under PM Shri, it will be more, what do you call as, efficient, or the teachers or the students, they will be well equipped for the better quality learning. That is the idea in here. So the PM Shri schools will be developed as green schools, also incorporating environment friendly aspects. Already in every school, mostly even today model schools also, we have something called as eco club, and in private schools also, what do you call as, having an awareness or an orientation towards being an eco-friendly, whether it is toilets, it may be the garden, right, garden area, or maybe all the facilities in the school is an orientation being an eco-friendly way. So this will also be a part of this PM Shri scheme. So major ones, there is how much of budget is allotted and all is there. Those are also the features. But when it comes to exam perspective, these are the main part. And if we have to know more about it, we have to simply see. One more thing is there. I want you to know, any information that has to be authentic, always visit the ministry website. The ministry's website only will give you the authentic information. Simply by searching, typing a keyword and ending up in a random website, I'm not saying that other websites do not give you accurate information, but definitely you should make sure that you should check in authentic website, in the ministry website, so you are on the safer side. Get the right information from the right source. Okay, yes. So this is about the scheme. Then we move on to, this can be a part of economics, Indian economy, and especially regarding oil, edible oil we are talking about. So speaking of this, it is a known fact that India is, this comes under Indian economy, okay? This topic. We know that it is a known fact that India is an oil importing country or oil dependent country, we can say, right? Today in this article, we talk about edible oil. It is not non-edible we are talking about. Of course, we are dependent when it comes to, be it edible or non-edible. India is dependent, import dependent. Import dependency is really high. Now, why this topic becomes important? There are two aspects. One, it has been asked in the previous year, especially on palm oil. Palm oil also comes under edible oil. That is the connection here, one thing. Second thing is, we have this national oil palm or palm oil mission that has been launched recently. And also India has chosen, the government has considered certain areas, especially in Andaman and Northeast, for the cultivation of palm oil, or palm cultivation, right? Like following the example of Indonesia, which is actually, and from the environmental way, if you actually have to criticize, it is a disastrous method, because Indonesia and Malaysia having this palm cultivation there, it has led to the destruction of tropical rainforest, that is Borneo forest. But India is doing such, India has taken this mission of avoiding being self-reliant on edible oil, because so that the dependency on other countries, especially Southeast Asian countries, Indonesia and Malaysia, especially Malaysia, India is dependent for edible oil. How it is dependent for non-edible or petroleum products from the Middle East or different countries. Here, edible oil for us, the major share comes from the Southeast Asian countries. And why we should be worrying, why should we be, before we go to this topic, I'm just giving you a backdrop of it. Okay, hope you are getting the point. So why we should be self-reliant? Why can't we still import it? Of course, there can be price fluctuation. That is the default reason. Apart from that, the growing influence of China in the South China Sea, Indian Ocean, all these matters. So there comes a day in future, there is a possibility wherein we never know, right? There can be a trouble when it comes to importing. So we are just being proactive and preparing ourselves so that let's become self-reliant. Let's not depend on, we cannot completely come out of import dependency, but we can reduce the import dependency is what India is trying to do. Of course, there is an argument, there is a binary, what do you call as, yes, Forex also. And there is a binary wherein, what do you call as, what I wanted to say, okay. So in a way that when we are taking a palm cultivation in India, environmentally disastrous, but economically viable, it is a viable option. We have to go through this. So this is the binary we have. This is the arguments we have. Okay, this is the backdrop of edible oil. Now, here the article speaks about the other oil imports India needs to worry about. The title itself says, the headline itself says, already India's import dependency is a concern because the ongoing wars that is happening at the world level, at the global level, it has definitely affected India in a way and many other countries, right? So we never know what happens, and this would also, the complete dependency, maximum dependency would definitely affect India in the future is what the concern is. So what has happened now? What is the current stance? All this we will see in this article. So India's edible oil imports hit record 16.5 million tons recently. This is the record. This is a report. Okay. So edible oil imports used in cooking and frying of foods as opposed to petroleum fuels. Obviously, edible means which is consumable. Cooking and frying touched a record of 16.5 million tons in the year ended October 2023, according to the data given by Solvent Extractors Association of India. With the accurate information, so they have given this report. So this is the usage, or this is the, what do you call as, oil imports, sorry, not usage, oil imports. We have imported 16.5 million tons. It's a hit record. It's the highest. That's why we are worried now. Why are we importing so much? Where is this going? Oil is going. I mean, obviously in our what do you call as food habits. But imagine we might consider one spoon of oil, and even we know oil is expensive. When it comes to edible and non-edible oil and edible oil is less expensive, but still we try to be conscious about our health, and we make sure that we eat less oily food and all that. Apart from this also, you can see that import is high. Correct. So it is not only about the household. Obviously, it is about the food industry also. It matters. Anyway, from a 10-year perspective, India's edible oil imports have increased from 11.6 million tons, that is valued at rupees 60,750 crores in 2013-14 to 16.5. So 11.6 million tons to 16.5 million tons. So that is like a world of difference, wherein, what do you call is the, see the points wherein with the jump pronounced in the last 3 years. Last 3 years, it is not in a very consistent way, but it is increasing. This is the report given in the article. Let's see regarding the other aspects which is mentioned here, and the current status of the oil seeds in India. Why are we importing? What is the production? That we should know, correct? We will see this current status, then also we will see, also we will see regarding the oil seeds. Now, when we say we are importing, does that mean we never grow oil seeds in India? Does that mean we never grow oil seeds in India? No, right? So the cultivation of the oil seeds is not enough to meet the demands or the domestic demands. That is the reason we are importing it. hitting it. So be it North India or South India or any part of India, there is cultivation. Oilseed cultivation is one of the important agricultural income. But when we look into the facts, when we look into the figures here, it is not enough, and we import more apart from cultivation. Okay, so let's see, look into the facts now. India accounts for about 15 to 20% of the global oilseeds area of cultivation we are talking about, and 6 to 7% of vegetable oil production, and 9 to 10% of the total edible oil consumption. So consumption, production, we are talking, what is the area we have, what is the production, and what is the consumption. So area is 15 to 20%, production is 6 to 7%, consumption is 9 to 10%. Production is less and consumption is more. Okay, then in terms of acreage, that is acres, production and economic value, oilseeds are the second only to food grains. After food grains, the next cultivation or production or the economic value that takes place in India is on oilseeds, apart from food grains. Now, as per the fourth advance estimates for 2018-19, the area and the production of 9 oilseeds, we will look into some of the what are oilseeds. Crops is 25.5 million hectares and 32.26 million tons respectively. So here, what do you call as oilseeds production in India is required for the edible or the consumption. But as we have, though we have limited area, the production is lower and the consumption is higher. That is why we are adding import also in the edible oil sector. Okay, so import dependency, you can see what is happening when it comes to import dependency. It has to be expected outcome. We are expecting an outcome. If at all we consider what you call as oil per requirement, if at all we switch, expected outcome can reduce. But the thing is, it should have been reduced, but it is not happening. What is this gap where we have to fill? What are the challenges? We will see. Okay, so as I told you, this can be asked in mains as well. What are the challenges when it comes to import dependency for edible oil? So what are oil seeds basically? Because as we are talking about what do you call as edible oil, we should know what is this, what are these edible oil and what are oil seeds, what come under oil seeds. So groundnut, mustard, rapeseed, sesame, safflower, linseed, Niger seed, and castor are the major traditionally cultivated oil seeds. I'm talking about India here. Okay, Indian what's it called as cultivation in India. So top 5 states also you can see, top 5 states which cultivates oil seeds in India is also being given. Then among the non-conventional oils, this is the upper one, what we saw was conventional. That is how we extract oil from. Among the non-conventional oils, rice bran oil. What is rice bran oil? Can anyone tell me what is rice bran oil? Obtained from what? And cotton seed rice bran oil and cotton seed oil are the most important. That is non-conventional. Usually, the dependency will be more on the conventional rather than non-conventional only. Rice bran oil is from the rice husk only, as the name itself suggests. The bran, the germ, the seed, which is more healthier. It is also said that is non-conventional. So in addition, oil seeds of tree and forest origin, which grow mostly in tribal inhabited areas, are also a significant source of oil. So there are other trees also which can, what do you call as, I think pongamia seeds, we say pongamia seeds. This has been asked very, what do you call as, at least 6 to 7 years it's been. Before they used to ask questions on the trees or the plants, whichever it is in news, maybe for the biofuels or edible oil or for non-conventional oil and all that. Certain seeds or trees example have been asked before as well. So this particular oil from the economic development for economic growth of the country, this entire sector is important. Can be simply asked regarding the position of India's import dependency or anything what we cultivate in India or any state, the top cultivating oil seed cultivating states in India can also be asked. Okay, simple questions or factual questions. So India, several regions have developed specific preferences for certain oils, largely depending upon the oils available in the region. Because This is also about the preference. People in South and West prefer groundnut oil, while those in the East and North use mustard oil. We mostly depend on groundnut or safflower oil, wherein in the North, mostly mustard oil is being used. It depends on the region where it is being grown, and also what is the preferences of the people. In India, the majority of the oilseeds are cultivated under a rain-fed ecosystem. Only 28% of the oilseeds areas covered under irrigation. You can consider this as a challenging part also. We have seen that area is more percentage, then production is less, and again demand is more. There is this gap between these three aspects. Why? Because in India, oilseed cultivation is mainly dependent on rainfall, not irrigation. 70%, that is maximum, majority or major share, the cultivation of oilseeds is dependent on rainwater or rain rather than irrigation, any forms of irrigation. Only 28% are under irrigation. So it all depends on the rainfall pattern. That is the reason we have this huge gap. That is the reason also wherein we are dependent on other countries for edible oil. Okay, that is why we are just analyzing the condition here. So anything, the basic aspects, because there can be a takeaways from this article can be asked. So make sure that you are getting the crux of the topic here. Okay. Okay. Anyway, apart from this, I had to put the challenges. I'll just tell you what are the challenges when it comes to import dependency. Why we are import dependent? One of the things we have seen that you can write regarding the hectares, what we use, the cultivation type, and apart from that, what are the challenges? Any other challenges you can tell me of wherein why we are dependent on other countries for this? This is a factual thing I told you. Can you give me your inputs wherein there is no other way for us? We have to be dependent. Any other things that comes to your mind? Yes. Simple thing, let me tell you, or if you want to write it down. First thing is oilseed productivity per hectare is less when compared to the global level. Okay, global level. And one more thing is there is one more also aspect wherein farmers are hesitant to grow oil seeds because they cannot compete with the cheap imports and lack of price support system, because import is quite cheap, because that is why we are importing in a bulky manner, and competing with the international market at the domestic level is quite difficult. So farmers do not want to take the risk. Basically, they don't even go for cultivation itself. First thing is cultivation area per hectare is very low. Second, farmers are hesitant in wherein the risk factor of competing with the the imported edible oil. Production is also less. Good. Production is also less. Then competing with this price support mechanism is difficult, and at certain times latest access to technology, that is not there. Correct. So farmers, basically there is some hindrance when it comes to taking up of the cultivation. So apart from that, land constraints are also there. We have seen dependency on rainwater. Not only 70% is dependent on rainwater. So erratic rainfall, monsoon, drought can be one of the limiting factor. Yes. Then anything else? Storage and distribution. Price stability. Very good. Price stability. Because this is purely an economics topic. Okay. From the mains perspective, when it is being asked, what are the challenges? Okay. In Indian edible oil market, or the cultivation, the production, you can add all this. Then what about the storage and distribution? Because oil, when it comes to oil, storage requires more better infrastructure and more investment. So when it comes to that, there is a lack, or there is a loophole, there is a lacuna for this as well. When it comes to storage mechanism, there is a drawback, loophole. Then anything else? See, even Malaysia is not an exception. What we call as cyclone, Southeast Asia, they call it as Southeast Asia, Japan on the Pacific coast, they call it as a typhoon, right? So the recent or the typhoons that affect Malaysia have also harmed, what do you call as declined the productivity of the oil seeds there. Maybe recently, I have not added here. This was also one of the news I didn't add. Let's take in domestic level also. Pests, or maybe erratic monsoon or the climatic unpredictable climatic conditions. Already for the well-known predictable lack of advanced processing units, exactly, processing units, that is also there. So homegrown, they simply, we just go for the homegrown, whatever it is available, people buy it for. And naturally, at the national level, more dependence, what we just focus on one particular product or one particular brand and we just buy it off. So less demand for the domestic level or domestic what do you call as homegrown edible oil, we can say homegrown oil seeds, we can say, that is also there. So when you keep on listing, challenges goes on like this. In order to understand, keep a tab on the area what is edible oil itself and National Palm Oil Mission. Okay, you connect one topic with another. That is how you have to connect. Though the question is on, though the concept is on oil seeds, focus more on the other peripheral areas as well, because the question already been asked on palm oil cultivation, clearly asked. Okay, that's the reason. Then moving on, we'll speak about agriculture as we are talking about this. Okay, let me complete that part, what I've told you. Recently in Assam, due to prolonged warmth, there was a prolonged warmth rather than what you call as seasonal unpredictability. A new pest has occurred, a worm has occurred, which is actually damaging the crops. So this happens when there is this unpredictable climatic condition. Of course, this is not, agriculture is not an exception to it. This is not something rare or unique that happens. But we can clearly see that how this climatic patterns, changing climatic pattern can take a huge toll on crop cultivation, especially not only crop cultivation, maybe at the basic level. Huge level, it is the international market we are worried about. One of you mentioned forex reserves. So all these matters. That is the reason the dependency has still remained, or maybe it is still growing. Unless and until we become self-reliant, and again there is a trouble for it, we are going to lose rainforest, tropical rainforest of Andaman and Northeast, that is there. So unless we find an alternative, this keeps on happening. That is there. Okay. Yes. So next is regarding the terminologies that has been seen in the news. Free martins. Free martins. So the title says black sheep among the cattle. Black sheep means odd man out. It's a phrase used in English. So one person who never belonged to the group, who stands out, or maybe who is considered what do you call as a curse or something very bad, it's called as black sheep. That is a phrase. Okay. Now, in agricultural settings, in agricultural context, free martin is being used for cattle. For cattle or for the animals which cannot reproduce, which are basically sterile in nature. We will see what is it in detail. I'm just giving this. Yes. Female, which is born with a male twin, which is normal, common in cattle with the twins. Doesn't happen in every case. Exactly. But this is a terminology seen in news. Once it is seen in news, definitely the question pattern can be like this. Free martins was recently seen in news, and 4 different definitions will be given. Unpredictable definitions will be given. This can be one of the options can be from this what you call science and tech or space related, or something related to some history related. So looking at the terminologies, you can guess from which area it is coming from. At least for the sake of it, knowing the meaning or the definition of the term is very, very important. That is why we have taken up this terminology. Okay, we will see the other details of it. So in agricultural settings, free martins can't reproduce. Farmers often identify them through physical and or behavioral traits. So in animal husbandry, cattle that are born exhibiting characteristics of both sexes are called as free martins. But that is ironically, the plight of these free martins are not so good. We will see that. Free martins are sterile female cattle that results from the twinning of a male and a female within the same uterus. Okay, this is the explanation how they are born. This phenomenon occurs in approximately 90% of such twin pregnancies in cattle. Whenever there is twin pregnancies, this happens. So 90%, there is a guaranteed one that happens. The key reason is the exchange of the blood between the male and the female fetuses during the gestation period. During in the womb itself, this happens. Okay, what do you call as chromosomes? This happens, and one will be one of the fetuses would, or the cattle or the calf would turn into free martin. This is the terminology used. So how do they often identify? You can see in agricultural settings, they cannot reproduce. Farmers often identify them through physical and or behavioral traits. So scientists or agricultural scientists or doctors or veterinary doctors can identify, okay, this is this. But how do farmers identify it? Through their physical and behavioral traits. That is how they identify them. So we will see the points here. Genetically free martinism is attributed to the sharing of cells carrying the Y chromosome from the male twin with the female twin. So there is a sharing of chromosome that happens. This chromosome triggers the development of male reproductive organs in the male fetus. While the female fetus, this chromosome we are referring to Y. While the female fetus, affected by the presence of the male hormones, experiences incomplete development of its reproductive system. So it is one thing you keep in mind, free martins, you can relate this to twin cattle. This is quite common in cattle. The end result is that free martin has an underdeveloped or non-functional reproductive tract. So ironical part is when farmers identify free martins, there are things wherein they literally kill it because it is sterile. That also happens. Okay, so that is there in the news. I hope you might have come across when you read the newspaper. It is on Hindu only. It was on Hindu. Have you? Yes. Have you come across this? Okay. So this is about the term. Only to know about the term is what we are looking into. Apart from that, need not worry much about it. Okay. Just have an awareness about it. Maybe, or the possibility of the question is regarding the basic biology, X and Y chromosome. So you have your NCRTs with you. Okay. Basic biology, even anyway for ecology, you'll be studying biology class 12. There is no harm in just going through one basic biology textbook, because lately, before in 2000s, they used to ask. Okay, thank you, Dr. Danush. A tuft of hair on the vagina of the cow is a classic sign of free martinism, is how the farmers identify. Okay, as I've mentioned, physical and behavioral traits. Yes, there's a complete detail in this article also. So what I would say is, okay, go back to your basics biology, because biology NCRT is all about, again, NCRT school level explanation will be there. So there is no harm in going through it. There was a gap wherein UPSC had stopped asking questions on basic or core biology. There will be one question, one or two questions. We see in the news. We see in the question paper. So if it is very difficult, it is going above your head, you have no idea about it, first time you are knowing about it, don't take the risk of attempting it, just skip. But to be on the safer side, why let go of the marks? If it is possible, just read at least one biology textbook for your understanding for the basic biological concept. Okay. Yes. Now, next term is Myristica swarms. Last week only I was handling offline sessions. Had told in the class also regarding this Myristica swarms, or maybe the other batches also, when we were discussing mangroves, because it has some similar features of mangroves with it, but it is totally different. First thing is swamp. Swamp is a terminology we can consider is one of the examples of a wetland. This you can bring this topic under ecology. Okay, ecology. So Myristica swarms is in news, and we will see what is the news, and we will understand more about these swarms. So the news is regarding rare forest ecosystem faces steady degradation in Kollam, Kerala. Though the swarms endemic to many species, they are critically in need of conservation. Currently, there is no consistent monitoring system in place to detect changes. Now, why this is being seen in news at least once in a year? It will be seen. I don't remember a question being asked on this, but as it is repetitively seen, there is a possibility. We do not want to take a chance, and knowing about this also matters because it is a very rare forest ecosystem. Let me ask you a question. We know that mangroves are salt tolerant vegetation. Is there any freshwater mangroves? Is there any freshwater mangroves? Can mangroves thrive in, forget about Myristica swamps, I'm just asking, can mangroves thrive in freshwater? Can mangroves thrive in freshwater? No, right? They're not. They can only thrive in salt water, right? This particular, coming to this now, Myristica swamp. This has the same feature of mangrove. Feature in the sense, the root system, and thriving in the waterlogged areas where there is a continuous flow of water or inundated with water. Everything is similar, but the only thing is these are freshwater swamps. These are not mangroves exactly. These are one of the species which are endemic to Western Ghats. In some of the areas only, in some of the forest areas only we find it. We have it in what do you call it? In different species, we have it in Karnataka also, Myristica swamps. But specifically, we see this in Kerala. Okay, I think in Agastya Malai Biosphere Reserve. Agastya Malai Biosphere Reserve. This reserve. Now, predominantly seen here. So, what is their importance? Why we should preserve them? What are the troubles here? Let's look into it. Okay, what is the unique feature of this particular swamp? So basically, swamp. Let's decode the word swamp. Swamp mean what do you call? It is a land inundated with water where the dominant vegetation are trees, which is totally different from a marsh. Marsh is an area. The commonality between swamp and marsh is marsh and swamp both are inundated. That means flooded with water, where you can see vegetation also. So marsh is dominated with grass. Swamp is dominated with woody plants or trees, basically. We do not have this huge swamp what we have in other countries like the European countries or Japan and all that. We have swamp in India, not with the bigger trees or taller trees, but we have swamp, mangrove swamp. We never say mangrove marsh, we say mangrove swamp, correct? So mangrove swamps we have, likewise we have Myristica swamps also. So in news it was there is no consistent monitoring, and we should detect this because they make sure that there's a continuous flow of fresh water, and they recharge the groundwater. They act as a carbon stock. They have n number of ecological benefits. That is the reason we have to safeguard this. That is the concern today. So we'll see this. So Myristica swamps are a rare and an archaic forest ecosystem, very primitive. Archaic means primitive, old. Like what we use the term as living fossils, we say living fossils. Very old type of forest ecosystem, we have it in the Western Ghats. So they are largely confined in this term they have given in Kollam, but in Western Ghats, in some pockets, small patches, we see this Myristica swamps. So according to tribes people, while virgin fragments inside the forest remain intact, those on the fringes have changed over the years. So which is in the core, interior part of the forest, no trouble with them. So they have kept intact or remained untouched, and they are actually carrying out the ecosystem services, which is much needed for the Western Ghats, be recharging groundwater, continuous flow of the water for n number of organisms, amphibians. Maybe we know that Western Ghats is known for diverse or variety of frog species. It may be amphibians, it can be reptiles, it can be birds, it can be any other animals, mammals in the forest. This is a source of water. This is a source or the place of habitat. So it provides other ecosystem services, which is in the core part of the forest, it is intact. But in the fringes, that is on the edges of the forest, where it is accessible to the people. People need not be always the outsiders, can be people of the forest also. The indigenous tribe or the indigenous people, scheduled tribes, forest dwellers, they can also be part of this. Okay, so they are also, they are actually making use of these swamps on the fringes. Now, we will understand the features of this swamp. You can see, have a look at the swamp here. This Myristica swamp, this is how the trees thrive. So you can see the roots, it has a loop, a bend on the root, correct? So if you see the roots here, they are almost similar to mangroves only. We know mangroves have these roots which emerges above the soil. There are different types of root system. We have what do you call as stilt roots, which act like a stand, nematophores, right, which emerge from the uh, soil to the upper part. Then we have need roots, and we have snake roots. Need roots is what we can see here, KNEED, need roots. Let me say 4 types of roots in mangrove ecosystem. Pneumatophores, then we have PNEU UEMATOPHORES. I'm not able to use the pencil here. Okay, fine. I'll write it down. So we have 4 types. Need roots. Need is KNEE. Knee. What do you call? Okay, knee. Then we have snake roots. Then we have, if it is visible, pneumatophores and stilt roots, or prop and stilt roots. These are the 4 types. If you look into Myristica swamps, it has need roots. Need roots are like this, like a loop. Okay, this is what these swamps have. That is the, what do you call as feature. Let's look into the other features which we have already discussed. So these are called living fossils, live fossils. A biodiversity hotspot dominated by evergreen trees belong to Myristicaceae family, one of the oldest flowering plants on earth. They also flower. They also what do you call as the seeds or the fruits that is being food for n number of birds and animals. So these are flowering plants as well. So they are a very unique species, and morely they are evergreen trees. Remember, they are dominated, the hotspot is dominated by evergreen trees because they are found in Western Ghats. Then these are freshwater swamps. You have to remember, unlike mangroves, these are not salt water. These are freshwater swamps. These forests are characterized by trees with large protruding roots. What we have discussed, protruding roots, jutting out of or coming out of the waterlogged soil, which remains inundated throughout the year. Inundated means logged, waterlogged, filled with water. They have evolved over millions of years and are made up of old growth trees. Geographical distribution, if you see, if there is a question being asked, Myristica swamps are found only in the Western Ghats? No, they are also found in major, as I told you, major part, they are endemic to Western Ghats, but we can see also the smaller distribution that exists in the Andaman and Nicobar, because there also we can see tropical rainforest or evergreen forest. Only some pockets, some smaller distribution we have in Andaman and Nicobar as well. So what are the climatic conditions? The formation of these swamps is dependent on abiotic conditions like shape of the valley, because they can thrive only in the forested hills. The amount of rainfall with an average of 3000 millimeter, that is like how actually a tropical rainforest biome receives the rainfall. Water availability throughout the year. Basically, these trees has to be submerged in the water. Once the water gets dried up, once there is no rainfall, these swamps will be greatly affected. That is definitely there, right? So this is the climatic conditions they require, and typically Myristica swamps are seen next to rivers and help in retaining water and acts as a sponge, ensuring perennial water availability. As they thrive, because they have to be inside the water, they thrive well next to rivers. And what happens is, because they are thriving next to rivers, they keep on absorbing water more and more, which acts like a sponge. Wherein wherever these Myristica swamps are there, it acts like a sponge, and you can see it is not like completely submerged, or you can expect a big huge lake or pond or something. It is a shallow water body. That's why I told you a swamp is also an example of a wetland. It is an example of wetland. What is a wetland? The land covered by water. And what is a technical definition? it has to be having, or it has to have the depth of minimum 3 meters. 3 meters depth. 3 meters depth is what should wetland should have, and these swamps will be having. So this is the depth of the water. So there is a continuous flow of water. There is some water inside it. Okay. Now, these swamps are home to many vertebrate and invertebrate faunal species. This is due to stable macroecological conditions like high humidity, moderate temperature, and macro habitat availability. So the animals are getting enough what do you call habitat where they can thrive well there. Then apart from that, it can provide area wherein they can feed themselves, they can breed, it can act as a breeding area, etc. Now what is the trouble? Why are we now coming back to the question? Now coming back to the highlight itself. What is the concern here today? Why it is under degradation? Why on the fringes they are into degradation? So because here recent degradation is is because of the anthropogenic disturbance, that is human disturbances. And one of the biggest swamps in this area, in the Kollam area, what we have mentioned here. So the continuous expanse, this has led to a single segment of swamp was torn into two pieces. So one was taken away by the people, or after the single segment was torn into two pieces, one part started drying up. So what happened is, if a particular tree is being cut down for maybe any other purposes, or it is been because of the natural disasters, or maybe because of the anthropogenic activities, the other part of the tree starts getting dried up, because they are one ecosystem. They are joined together, they grow together like a groove. How mangroves grow, likewise they grow. In some places, construction of check dams for the cultivation of water holes for animals. So sometimes what happens for the cattle or the livestock inside the forest, people in these regions will make use of this water for as a water hole, or sometimes animals also make it as a water space for them. But rather than that, the people who are living in the forest construct a a small check dams, wherein it can help for themselves for the drinking water purpose, or for their livestock also. This has led to stopping the flow of the water throughout the ecosystem. That is one threat. Then apart from that, speaking of the usages of this tree, or how they are utilizing these places, people are using this parts of the tree as a part of MFP. MFP refers to minor forest produce. Minor forest produce. What are the examples of minor forest produce? Yes, example of minor forest produce. The forest department says that minor forest produce includes honey, lac, wax, dye, etc. Yes, all this. So the forest department opines that there is no trouble if it is part of MFP, but on the fringes, because of troubling the forest, interrupting or interfering in this ecosystem, even if one part of the tree is being lost, it would affect the entire groove. That is the concern here. So once they are lost, the biodiversity services it provides to other flora, fauna, the entire ecosystem will fall. They can act as a foundational species as well. How we call corals as foundational species, how we say mangroves as a foundational species, these swamps can also act as a foundational species. What is the definition of foundational species? Any species which supports and strengthens the entire ecosystem. Once it falls, once the same things happens with the coral also. When the coral reef bleaching happens, it affects the entire food chain. Likewise, this also will be affected. So from the exam perspective, location is important. Ecosystem services they provide is important. Okay. In general, make a note on Myristica swamp and keep a tab on it. Definitely it has not been asked, but we can see over the years it has been resurfacing. Okay. Maybe remotely regarding any protected areas. As I mentioned, Agastya Malay Biosphere Reserve. Okay. Protected areas can be asked. Clear with this? This is about the Myristica swamps. Moving on to one more ecology only. Greenwashing. Greenwashing, it is not a very recent word, terminology it is used, but a guideline was proposed by ASCI, an organization, a standard council, to check the greenwashing in ads. Now let us understand what is greenwashing. It is like, it sounds like brainwashing, eye washing. Exactly, it is also the same thing in here. Only word is greenwashing. What is the term? We'll understand first. Let's look into the report news. So to ensure the advertisers' green claims are true and evidence-based, Advertising Standards Council of India, that is a standard organization to check the advertisement guidelines in India. Okay, so this organization has proposed a guidelines that aim to bring transparency and accountability in environmental claims-based advertising. Now, let's look into what is greenwashing. Now, ASCI has given some guidelines. If any company is claiming based on eco-friendly products or anything related to it, they have to abide by certain guidelines, okay, which would bring more transparency and accountability, saying that our product is an eco-friendly product. Say, for example, any products you buy recently, it can be there can be a symbol or icon put that this is free from cruelty, this will include, this is biodegradable, or what you call as the ingredients used are biodegradable, the packaging is biodegradable, or likewise anything that is environment friendly claims, which is not. Basically, it is a false claim. This is called as greenwashing. Greenwashing is a false claim. Yes, a false claim for one of you. Okay, let me. Okay, MFP includes fruits, but not wood. Okay, not wood. Collection of firewood, yes, if at all you are mentioning that. Firewood, yes. Fruits, yes. But timber logging do not come under minor forest produce. Just giving a clarification. Anyway, coming back to this. So this greenwashing. Okay, remember this eye washing. What is eye washing? Having false claims. Okay, cheating, deceiving someone. So we mentioned the word as greenwashing. So it is a process of conveying a false, greenwashing is a process of conveying a false impression or misleading information about how a company's products are environmentally sound. We say products or policies. So let's say the company says that we are doing this, we are producing so many products, some percentage of this will go to some other initiative, or it claims that it can do so and so things, many things, many claims that it makes. Provided if they are making it, it will not come under greenwashing. If it is false, that it comes under that, those aspects come under greenwashing. Now, greenwashing involves making an unsubstantiated claim to deceive consumers into believing that a company's products are environmental friendly or have a greater positive environmental impact than they actually do. Sometimes it will never do, or there is no such thing, but still they claim. That also amounts to greenwashing. At certain times, maybe the effort is 50%, they say 100% eco-friendly, need not be, or under 100% organic, pure. But if you see the ingredients, there'll be some other aspects also, or there'll be some other ingredients also added to the product. Likewise. So this is what we call as basically a false claim. Now, what are the guidelines? You need not worry about, because it is only draft guidelines as of now. So that will be given to the companies, especially in maybe the advertising companies or the companies itself. So which focuses on, especially the term is given here, one of the term carbon offset, especially carbon offset, saying that we are reducing the carbon footprint, biodegradability, we are bringing positive impact. Before doing such, give us this, maybe what do you call as, these are the guidelines you have to follow while claiming it, and also whether you're falling under the provision of it, that matters. This is about greenwashing. That's the guidelines given. Okay, so we'll see what is this institution all about, organization, just to know, having an idea about it. It is a voluntary self-regulatory organization of the advertising industry in India. So it is a voluntary and self-regulatory. Don't think that it is a statutory body or something like that. The self-regulatory organization, established in 1985. ASCI is registered as a non-profit company. It is a non-profit company, Section 25 of the Company Act. Okay. It comprises of members from marketing, creative, media, and allied companies in India. It is committed to cause of self-regulation and advertising, ensuring the protection of the interest of the consumers. Obviously, because it is simply deceiving the consumers or customers. So in order to check that, in order to regulate that, this has been established in 1985. So it seeks to ensure that the advertisements conform to its code of self-regulation, which requires advertisement should be legal, decent, honest, truthful, and not hazardous or harmful, while observing fairness in competition. So this is quite intriguing, because maybe you have come across the news such as wherein celebrities or the actors will have a backlash from the fans or the other people when they actually, what do you call as, support or endorse a particular product which is harmful. Can you give any example of such? Any such example wherein celebrities endorse certain products which is actually very hazardous, very dangerous, which makes no sense, which is actually not environmentally friendly, or in a healthy, what do you call it, health wise also it is not good, but still they endorse and they have received backlash also. Vimal Pan Masala, I was expecting that only. So what is this pan masala basically? Why should one endorse it? It is not one or two, no, three actors are there. More actors are joined to one ad only. Before it was for one ad, one celebrity, one actor, not too many for one particular product, right? Rummy, exactly. So, but when it comes to the, now why this new guidelines is important here, as of now it is regarding greenwashing only. This ASCI, what does it do? It will give certain guidelines. Okay, advertisement should make sure that maybe even if we are claiming, we are saying that we are simply to promote the product, a disclaimer should be given. Maybe you might have seen conditions apply. It will be in a very small font. I mean, maybe there is no such guideline where this should be a particular font. All that this council asks is you should provide this information. So it goes to the onus on the customers also. Let the buyer beware. Let the buyer beware in the sense that the customer know what they are buying. That should be there. That is also an idea behind this. So apart from the normal products, what we are discussing, especially for greenwashing, this is a need. This is a need because in every other possible way, the different countries or many individuals or volunteers or organizations are striving to reduce the carbon footprint. In the name of reducing carbon footprint, there should no deception. There should not be any cheating involved. That is the reason these guidelines are issued. So once it is more popular or maybe in the news, it again resurfaces, you can look into the guidelines or just know about the news. Or maybe my intention was for you to know about the term greenwashing. What is greenwashing? Hope you got the idea of it. Okay, what is greenwashing? Or you can find some of the examples also. Or you do one thing, add some examples of greenwashing, recent any greenwashing examples which was seen in news. Okay. Now, moving on to the next environmental science, environment concept, topic, Gambusia fish. Gambusia fish, basically this is also, I think it was asked in different exams, different state level exams, it's been asked, central level exams, it's been asked. Okay, we will see what is this news all about. Now, recently, the various government and non-governmental organizations in Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Punjab have released Gambusia fish in local water bodies to address a mosquito menace. Now, this fish is in news. It looks like a guppy fish, right? You might have been come across this word, or you might have seen guppy, small fishes, right? So it looks similar to guppy only. And what is the use of guppy fish? What are your inputs about it? You might have heard guppy fishes eat the mosquito larva. Yes or no? They feed on mosquito larvae, right? So, in a similar way, Gambusia fish also does the same job. And many governments have taken up this as a part of biocontrol or biological control. What is the meaning of biological control? using one organism to check the population of the other. Bio, living. Control, we are referring here about the control of population, biocontrol or biological control. So this fish is used for or under biological control and in turn controlling the population of the mosquitoes. One of the natural remedies in order to control mosquitoes. Now, what do you call as wildlife biologists and conservationists or conservations consider mosquito fish to be among the 100 most detrimental invasive alien species. It has two sides now. This news has two sides. One is it is used in biocontrol, and the other one is it is an invasive alien species, or it has turned to be an invasive alien species, or you can see it has been listed out as one of the or one among the 100 most detrimental, that is harmful, invasive alien species. We already know what is the meaning of invasive alien species, right? Invasive, that is exotic species, which gets spread or spreads quickly, rapidly in a given environment and takes over the place of endemic species or native species, native organisms. That is what we call as invasive alien species. The same fish, which is actually solves the issue of mosquitoes, also can or also have led into or turned into invasive alien species. That is a concern here. Okay, why the title like that? Even after backfire, even we know that it is an invasive alien species, we have found this is the remedy. We are using it. We are keeping it. Okay, now aside from their resilience, these fish also have voracious feeding habits and have demonstrated aggressive behavior in habitats to which they are introduced. Wherever they have been introduced, in the sense, basically they are native to Southeast North America, or North America, basically southeastern part of North America. There are two species of this Gambusia fish. Two species are there. It was introduced in India very long ago, long back. Again, for the same thing, it was introduced as an exotic species in India to control the mosquito population, but later on turned to be an invasive alien species. As you can see, they have a voracious feeding habitats. Most of the invasive alien species, especially in the water spaces, like let's say African catfish or fishes like this, or anything, you name it, when they are introduced, most of them which turn into invasive alien species will be having a voracious appetite, wherein they feed a lot on anything and everything, mostly. Especially if they feed on larvae, all the larvae. Sometimes mosquito larvae, sometimes fish larva also. There is a possibility. So that is why this has been a trouble now. Let's look into the basic features of this. You can see a mosquito fish can eat mosquito larvae as fast as a larvae hatch from eggs, as many as 100 per day. So it is a mosquito killer, natural mosquito killer. Okay, this is a positive note. Let's look into the key points. In 1928, Gambusia was introduced during the British rule. Not even after that. As I told you, very long back. 1928, it was introduced in India under the British rule, and the Indian Council of Medical Research, India's nodal medical research organization, plays a significant role in mosquito management in the country. If at all there is one of the statements asked, I just thought you should be knowing the organization also. The Indian Council of Medical Research, which is an Indian's nodal medical research organization, it plays a very important role in mosquito management in the country, obviously regarding the health factor. So many of them were considered to be environmental friendly and sustainable. Whatever Gambusia, when it was introduced initially, they were environmental friendly and they were sustainable. But after some point of time, when they spread across in the freshwater ecosystem, especially the freshwater ecosystem we are talking about, the two species, both Gambusia affinis and Gambusia holbrooki, these two species are found in India. They have turned into invasive alien species. In all the freshwater ecosystem, most of the freshwater ecosystem, they have become a menace, not by what you call as eating up, but by spreading quickly, populating, and also eating the larvae of, or leading to the decline of the indigenous variety. Same thing what happened with the African catfish. Now, studies conducted in other countries have consistently revealed the harmful consequences of presence of Gambusia in water bodies. In Australia, there are reports that has found wherein Gambusia is harmful, has turned into invasive alien species, taken over the native place of the native species. In New Zealand, also the same thing. A native fish species have been totally into decline because of Gambusia. In India, I have taken only India's example here. All the three examples are given in your news. Just look into the India's example. Some reports also have indicated a decline in microhyla tadpoles following the introduction of Gambusia. A tadpole population have totally gone to decline because of introduction of Gambusia. One might say we do not want tadpole, or what is the use of it? Every organism has their own role to play, and especially it is a major threat. It is happening, the declination or declining is happening because of the exotic, what do you call as exotic species. So the threat of Gambusia is this, as I told you already. They are used in biocontrol, but other than that, they are invasive species as well. So the general term for this is mosquito fish. Okay, mosquito fish. So mosquito fish, introducing them in freshwater ecosystem, feeding on the mosquito larvae was the prominent alternative, or a what do you call as go-to solution in the from the 1960s itself, especially in all over the world. It started. Okay, so what we did not plan for is that fishes can proliferate and they can eventually spread beyond their habitats. That was the what is that concept we were not aware of, but today it is, the situation is out of hand, but still countries what do you call as still use it. Okay, countries still use it. And today in India, what about India? Is mosquito fish used in India? As I've told you, it has already been introduced and still we are using it. And in the news also it says states like Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Punjab have released Gambusia fish also. So still it is a popular alternative to beat mosquitoes in these states, right? So that means India has, what do you call as, could not control this mosquito fish, but still some of the states are using it as a popular alternative or popular solution in the what's the word, tackling of mosquito menace. Okay, just keep this in mind. If at all, why am I telling this? Because if this is one of the options in questions such as, this is how the pattern goes, which of the following, okay, which of the following organisms are considered as invasive alien species? Sometimes along with the invasive alien species there can be indigenous species, or it can be exotic which is not invasive alien species, can also be given. We have different examples, be it plants, be it fishes like this, be it any insects, various, anything can be an invasive alien species once it takes over the indigenous variety, endemic species. But you should be very careful with the examples. So the takeaway from this topic is know as many examples as possible for invasive alien species. Throughout the year, we have n number of examples that is coming across. Make a note of it, keep a tab on it, know each and everything. I think in the static part, static classes, we have discussed regarding invasive alien species, some of the examples. You have to add more examples to it. Okay, yes. Now moving on, protected areas in news. Protected areas in news, Nugu Wildlife Sanctuary. Before we go to this, just take 5 minutes break, then I'll continue. Okay, we will take a break and I'll continue. Just 3 to 5 minutes. we shall continue. So next topic is protected areas in news. Okay, Nugu Wildlife Sanctuary. Hope I'm pronouncing it right. It is in Karnataka only. It is in Mysore. So some of you might have been, some of you might be knowing about this place as well. So the news is regarding NTCA recommends declaring Nugu as a core critical area of Bandipur. Bandipur Tiger Reserve is what we are talking about. And NTCA is National Tiger Conservation Authority. Now NTCA is recommending, whom is the question, we will come to that, declaring Nugu as a core critical area. Core critical area means, or a core area means, what do you call, any area which is called as, whether it is tiger reserve or maybe in any wildlife sanctuary or a national park or anything. Core area means which is inviolated from human activities, or in simple words, no human activities are allowed, completely restricted. Of course, you might ask, in national parks, no human activities are allowed, but certain projects will be allowed. Research and education is allowed. But when once it is mentioned as a core area, nil, or no, not even research and education will be allowed unless and until it has been, what do you call, as government has given a permission in extreme condition, in a certain situation wherein that is the place is being chosen, less likely to happen. So why do we mention a particular, or why government considers a particular area in a protected area as a core area? Because there is a reason. If at all there is an abundance of species, especially the apex predators. Apex predators in the sense top predators of the given ecosystem. It can be tigers, it can be leopards, it can be lions in the Gir forest if at all, or any place. If they are the highest level in the top, in the food chain, they are called as the top predators or the apex predators. Now NTCA is a statutory body. National Tiger Conservation Authority is a statutory body established under the Act, obviously under WPA, Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, and it was established in the year 2006. Okay, so what is the role of NTCA? NTCA will recommend the tiger reserve. It can look into the supervision and management of the tiger reserve. It will conduct the census and survey of the tigers, or estimation. So all these are the activities. And when it comes to NTCA's role in making any region as a core or critical area, or even what do you call as establishing it, notifying it, announcing it, NTCA has limitation. That means the news clearly mentions, recommends. When it comes to establishing all the other aspects, NTCA will look into. But when it comes to establishing a protected area, maybe it is a core area, or simply like what do you call as establishing a tiger reserve itself, new tiger reserve itself, NTCA has limited role, because we have learned that NTCA recommends, NBWL establishes, or it acts as a approving authority. NTCA cannot approve any tiger reserve or any changes in the tiger reserve without the approval of NBWL, that is National Board for Wildlife. This has been clearly mentioned. National Board for Wildlife, which is also a statutory body, which has been established under the Act of Wildlife Protection Act. This is the main, what do you call as, approving authority in India, or the apex body in India for giving approval for any protected areas. Even for tiger reserve also, you might say NTCA we have. NTCA is a statutory body, but still it comes under NBWL, because what do you say? NTCA has what is that? It plays only as a recommendatory body. Finally, for any protected area, NBWL has to give the approval. Just clarifying it, so that why we use the word recommendation. Okay. Now the news is regarding, it has recommended to the authorities, that is NBWL, that the Nugu Wildlife Sanctuary abutting or covering the Bandipur Tiger Reserve be declared as a core critical tiger habitat. Just a recommendation. Taking into consideration the ecological significance of Nugu Wildlife Sanctuary, which is inviolate and ideal habitat for tigers as well as elephants. But when will the authority will establish it as a core area? Whenever it has abundant population of the major predators or the major species in a given ecosystem in that region, and It is an ideal habitat which is completely away from the any human interference or any other interference. That place can be considered as a core area. This is the news. Now, looking into the details of the area, protected area. Anything, because every week there will be one topic related to wildlife sanctuary, or it may be tribes or maybe the species. We know that, right? So this time it is regarding what do you call Nugu Wildlife Sanctuary. So some of the other details we should be knowing. So it is in Mysore, HD Kote Taluk. Okay, situated in HD Kote, in Mysore district. So it has been declared by the wildlife sanctuary by the state itself. In 1974, Nugu was declared a wildlife sanctuary, and later in the year 2003-2004, it was added to Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. We have 18 biosphere reserves in India. The first biosphere reserve, which was established in the year 1986, was Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. So, in the year 2003-04, Nugu Wildlife Sanctuary was also added to Biosphere Reserve. We know what is a Biosphere Reserve. It is a large area which comprises of different various protected areas. This is part of Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Then, what kind of vegetation we have it here? Dry deciduous and patches of plantation we have, interspersed with the patches of plantations as well. So, just because it is in in Karnataka, it is not part of the Western Ghats as such. It is again part of Nilgiri Biosphere also. We do not have tropical evergreen forest here. It is dry deciduous. That's why it has been highlighted, remember. Then what are the fauna, animals we see in this region? Why should we know about flora, fauna, the other details every time whenever we speak about wildlife sanctuaries or any national parks? Because somewhere this linking of the terms, because if you say that, okay, in Nugu we have all these animals, definitely in and around any protected area asked in news, you will connect there. Obviously, this animal is also found in this region because this is a large landscape. That is the reason we repeat or we revise regarding the fauna. Now, the wildlife population includes elephant, leopard, jungle cat, wild pig, spotted deer, sambar deer, barking deer also, mouse deer. See, this is a wide variety of animals here. Jackal, hare, common mongoose, common otters are there. Otter, small Indian civet, common palm civet, and porcupine. So this diversity one can understand because the questions on national parks and wildlife sanctuaries been asked with a description. It is been situated, located in so and so place. It has this flora. These are the fauna. This is the river flows. Whatever you were supposed to study, that will be given in the question. You have to identify which protected area it is. Of course, I understand today we have this 567, what do you call as wildlife sanctuaries. If I'm not wrong, it is updated, I believe. 106 national parks. Today, we cannot, from the exam perspective, we cannot remember everything. But throughout the year, at least among 500 odd wildlife sanctuaries and 100 odd national parks, at least 20 to 25 will be there. And some are mostly repetitive. If you have an idea about this, which are seen in the news and the previous year question paper, that is more than enough. But you can't take a risk wherein nothing should be left behind. Whatever it is in the protected areas, it is in the news. Make sure that you know about it. Okay, this is the protected areas which is in news for this week. Now, moving on to, you can consider it as science and tech, Kyasanur forest disease. Hope you are aware of this. You might have heard about this before as well. It has been asked in various exams, I would say, not only UPSC, KPSC also. Okay, so study confirms presence of Kyasanur forest disease in 2 more Karnataka districts. Now, what is this disease all about? Basic details we'll understand. First, we'll look into the report. A study by the Indian Council for Medical Research and the National Institute of Virology has for the first time confirmed the presence of Kyasanur forest disease in Karnataka, because it's originated in Karnataka in Kyasanur. That's why the disease is called as, or started spreading in Karnataka. So it is called as Kyasanur forest disease, also known as monkey fever or monkey disease. We will see that. So it is a virus, basically. It is a viral disease, remember. This is where we also get, sometimes aspirants get confused when you are marking the right answer. Maybe entire concept, you know, it is evident. You have learned about this concept. You are very excited. Okay, I came across a question wherein which I know of, and in a hurry, without looking into each and every word, you come to a conclusion. Be careful, especially from this particular point. Be careful, especially regarding the diseases. Entire statement might be correct, right? So instead of viral disease, if they have given bacterial disease, then the entire statement becomes wrong. You should be very careful about that when it comes to districts. Okay, diseases. So Casanova forest disease virus is transmitted through the bite of ticks and bonnet and black-faced langur monkeys, which are highly susceptible to the infection. We are talking about bonnet macaques. Bonnet macaques are the monkeys, commonly found monkeys in South India. We have macaques, two species in India, prominently. The common monkeys where we see near the temples or the tourist spots and all, these are called as macaques, bonnet macaques. So these are what you call as in South India, we have bonnet macaques. In North India, we have rhesus monkeys. Both look similar. Both are very, what do you call as human friendly, or found in the human settlement areas, in the urban areas, in the temples, in tourist places and all that. So this affects only to the bonnet macaque is what we are talking about. So black-faced langur monkeys are also highly susceptible to the infection. These are the three carriers or the organisms which carry the disease. They play a significant role in spread of the virus in the human population also. Why human population? Because they also inhabit the places where human beings are also there. That is also the reason wherein it can spread quickly. So the basic details about the disease: it is a zoonotic disease. Zoonotic in the sense it is very, evidently understood that zoonotic is related to animals. Animal transferred disease, zoonotic disease. The disease was first reported from Casanova forest of Karnataka in India in 1957. Hence, it is known as Casanova forest disease. It is also known as monkey disease, monkey fever, because of its association with monkey deaths. This virus has spread along the entire stretch of the Western Ghats, Maharashtra, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Goa as well as of now. And one more important point you have to look into is no specific treatment for Casanova forest disease is available so far. There is no cure, we can say, or treatment, not cure. Treatment is available so far, but if symptomatic or if the symptoms are seen prior itself, the supportive therapy, proper therapy or treatment can decrease morbidity and mortality. Morbidity is avoiding suppressing the bacterial spread, and mortality is reducing the death. There is a possibility, but specific treatment so far is not been identified. So it is a viral disease transferred from animals to humans, especially monkeys. That is why the disease is called as monkey fever. Okay. Yes. Yes, Casanova in Shimoga, right? Yes. Then, scattered spiders. A term was mentioned in the news, scattered spiders. I've taken this news because when it comes to cyber crime, hacking, or malware, spyware, already these terminologies or this area is been considered very important and also has been asked. So we are looking into this topic, okay? Scattered spiders, because you may never know. The question would be like this: scattered spiders are recently seen in news. What is it exactly? Okay, so because it is totally irrelevant, the term and the field, the area what we are talking about is totally irrelevant. That is the reason you should be knowing about the terminologies. So it is a hacking group, basically. Scattered spiders is a hacking group. Okay, it is about FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, recently issued a warning to organizations about a hacking group called as scattered spiders. Usually this will be in news because any malware, spyware, whenever it is in the news, there will be issuing of warning. Same thing has happened here also. So we will see the the details of the scattered spiders. It is a hacking group notorious for invading various organizations across the world. It's not one individual. It is not a virus. Here it is not. Cyber virus or something. It is about the people only, a group itself, wherein they hack various organizations. This hacker group is known by other names as well, aliases as well, including Star Fraud, UNC 3944, Scatter Swine, Muddled Libra, etc. Different names are given for the same group. Okay. We will see the features. What do they do? What exactly we are focusing on is the word phishing. Phishing, we will come to it. Let us complete the key points on it. Scattered spiders are the members are as young as 16 years old and primary English speakers. They have been identified. These are the details we have received. They break into the IT environments of victims, exfiltrates as much valuable data as possible, and then demand payment to keep a lid on that information and not leak or sell it. Same thing. What is it? So they'll hack the information and ask for payment and keep it on a hold unless it is being paid. If it is not paid, then threatening the organization to leak the information. So how do they do it? They use fake profiles and impersonations to trick a victim organization's help desk into giving them access. So help desk is their main target. They use fake profiles, get into the help desk, and then hack. Okay, this is the method. After gaining access to an organization's systems, hackers keep an eye on internal communication channels. Then everything they'll collect and finally ask or demand for a ransom. You might have heard about the ransomware also. Ransomware. Ransom is asking for money. Here it is the same thing, but the concept, this entire concept belongs to, the news is under a terminology called as phishing. Phishing is a cyber crime in which a target or targets are contacted by email, telephone, because they're contacting through help desk, right? That is why we are bringing this under phishing. Phishing. By email, telephone, or text message by someone posing as a legitimate institution to lure individuals into providing sensitive data. So question can be asked on phishing, or question directly can be asked on scattered spiders as well. Simple concept. Then moving on, international relations. India-Japan relations. India-Japan relations. So here, actually the thing is, India, Japan met in Southeast Asia, especially in Philippines. But we analyze the relation between India, Japan, India and Philippines, Japan and Philippines. But basically, we just look into from the India's perspective. Need not worry about Japan and Philippines here from the exam viewpoint. Just focus on India and Japan and India and Philippines. That will do. Okay. Now, it is very evident whenever the Southeast Asian countries are joining with India, or India is actually joining with other Southeast Asian countries, it is very evident that it is to tackle or curb the Chinese influence in these areas. It is like as the saying goes, your enemy's enemy is friend. As simple as that. That is the concept applied here, right? So let's see the news. The Philippines is now exploring Japan and India as alternative partners for development and security cooperation. The Philippines, one of the Pacific countries, Pacific Ocean countries, island country, is seeking out Japan and India's relations for security cooperation. It is again evident, security cooperation from whom? Against China. So why India and Philippines? How do they match? And India and Japan, multiple arrangements are there. But how India and Philippines match? Because these are the two democratic countries in the Indo-Pacific region that share a common approach towards the Indo-Pacific, emphasizing free, open, and stable region. So in order for the countries to come together, most of the times, especially to have a very good relations, there should be some commonality. The common thread is here is being democratic countries and envisioning for free, open, and stable region. The Philippines seeks stronger security and economic ties, emphasizing sovereignty in the West Philippine Sea. Manila in the sense Philippine here, prioritizes Japan, Tokyo, and India, that is New Delhi, for multifaceted strategic cooperation. It is seeking out both the countries together, because it has on the either side, it has two different countries. So it is bringing together. Recently, Japanese Prime Minister and Philippine Secretary and even India's Indian government representative also have met in this recent meeting, wherein it has led to understanding better relations, how they are maintaining the better relations here. So from the exam perspectives, what all the arrangements they already have is one thing. One more thing is again going through South China Sea territories. South China Sea, in one or the other way, it will be in the news because it's territorial claims on Taiwan, or maybe Paracel Islands, or maybe conflict with Philippines, right? Even as far as Malaysia, wherever the entire region, South China Sea, it takes over. We can see the position of the Philippines here, the location of the Philippines, correct? So China's, this is what are these red line mark called as? Have you heard of few months back? The term called as 9-dash line was in news, or 10-dash line or 9-dash line, dash lines. So this is a territorial claim by China saying this is mine, this is ours, wherein no Pacific Ocean countries or South China countries, some of them are ceding to the, what do you call, claims of the China, but not all the countries. They are like, their security is threatened because of these claims of the China. Now, whom they will get into, because the to their north, Philippines have Japan, and in the very predominant or the prominent country they can go for is obviously India. And Malaysia and Indonesia has quite of an influence of China in their country, obviously. That is the reason Philippines has taken the help or the aid of India and Japan here. That is the thing. International relations is quite intriguing because you can understand evidently what is happening in which country. Okay, so coming to this, we will see India-Japan partnership. India and Japan's partnership addresses shared concerns, particularly China's assertiveness. India and Japan come together to tackle China, evident. Regular military exercises happens. If you remember anything, you can give your inputs. Any name of the military exercises that happens between India and Japan. 2+2 meetings, wherein Japan and India is part of it. And which are the other countries part of it, you should be knowing. And participation in multilateral frameworks signify the robustness of the relationship between India and China. We already know India and Japan has better relations. Southeast Asian countries favor Japan and India as alternative Indo-Pacific partners. Okay, so many countries in Southeast Asia, all the smaller island countries, considers India and Japan as Indo-Pacific, a better or alternative Indo-Pacific partners, right? The strengthening ties aligns with Southeast Asian countries' strategies amid US-China competition, addressing economic and security concerns. Now, US and China is fighting somewhere for the dominance over the world or on major countries. Here, the troubled countries are the smaller countries where China is showing this aggression or assertiveness. Now, these smaller countries cannot go back directly to ask for United States help. Rather, the similar countries which have the similar or the shared mindset, shared vision in this particular region for economic development, economic cooperation. So this is the best kind of a go-to guide for Philippines. So both of them, Japan or India. That's the reason this is happening. Now, from the exam perspective, look into the mapping part. South China Sea, Philippines, and Indo-Japan relations. That should be the takeaway for exam. Then a small terminology, you can consider this under miscellaneous. Langland's program was in news. Langland's program is related to one of the mathematical problem or world's biggest maths project, we say. And this was recently in news, and identifying this importance. I mean, when you look at the entire article, it is all about formulas and on mathematical formulas. Don't worry about it. Just have an awareness about it. What is Langland's program mean? Langland's program is associated with mathematics, in the field of mathematics. 5 years ago, in 2018, Dr. Langland, which is named after him, he was awarded the Abel Prize. Abel Prize, it is like kind of Nobel for mathematicians, one of the highest honors for mathematicians. So this was awarded to him for his visionary program connecting representation theory to number theory. This program is about, what do you call as, the very unique part of this program is connecting two unrelated areas of mathematics, number theory and harmonic analysis. When number theory focuses on, I'm just mentioning it, even if it is going above your head, just leave it, don't worry about it. Just the awareness of the term is what I want you to know. Number theory speaks about the integers. When it concerns about the integers, harmonic analysis speaks about the wave particle or wave. So totally, these are two unrelated area of the mathematics. But Langland's program tries to establish a relation between these two irrelevant, unrelated areas of mathematics, and that's why he was awarded. Now, why we should be focused, how it is helpful to mankind means, if you ask, this is regarding obviously trigonometry. You study maybe in your, if you, some of you are from science background, you will be knowing trigonometry. What is the application of trigonometry or mathematics in our daily life itself? We cannot totally rule out the very area or very mathematics in from our life. Maybe it leads, maybe the construction or architecture or any other things, maybe space. Maths is inevitable, or mathematics is inevitable. Likewise, Langland's program has helped in what you call as helped in architectural field, architectural area. You can see the image here. There's a view of a bridge in New Zealand, wherein this Langland's program can be likened to associate or strengthen the ideas behind this building these bridges based on mathematical precision. That is the contribution to the mankind here. Just remember the flow chart. Langland's program related to mathematical field, more than enough. Then GI tag, sorry, not GI tag, what do you call as state fish, miscellaneous, comes under miscellaneous only. Goldfish was recently seen in news, and this goldfish has been considered as Gujarat's state fish. Recently, Gujarat has named its state fish as which is goldfish. So it is a black spotted croaker or goldfish, considered a fisherman's lottery. It is like gold for fishermen in Gujarat. So the Gujarat government chose the gold because of its economic value and its uniqueness. The fish is usually found in the Indo-Pacific region that stretches from the Persian Gulf to the Pacific Ocean, basically. But today, we can also see it is prominently seen in Indian, actually found in this region, Indo-Pacific region. So Indo-Pacific region in the sense, the Arabian Sea part also comes part of it. So Persian Gulf to the Pacific Ocean. This is the stretch of this goldfish. But especially in Gujarat, it is abundantly found in the coast of Gujarat. So what do you call as this been made it as a state fish. So why should we know about this topic? Because fishing industry in India is a prominent industry, comes under the concept of blue economy, and a particular state is making it as a state fish. That means wherein it is a contribution to the fishing export or fishing industry in itself. It is very important. So we will see the basic features of this fish. Okay, this is one of the largest fish found in India, primarily in marine areas of Gujarat and Maharashtra. So it is often referred to as sea gold, fisherman's lottery. It is recognized for a pouch in its stomach with potent medical properties. In its stomach, it has an air bladder. That air bladder is used in pharmaceutical applications. It has good medicinal properties. So it's been used in pharmaceutical industries. And apart from that, its flesh is been used in beer and wine making. So it has its economic purposes. That is why it is called as what is called a fisherman's lottery or sea gold, high economic value. So when such high economic value is there, state has to give importance to such fish variety. That is the reason it has been declared. Okay. Give importance to fishing industry in India. News is on this. Question can be on fishing industry. So, okay. And the last one for today about GI tag, sea buckthorn. I have taken this topic because in 2012 prelims, question on sea buckthorn is already been asked. Again, it is in the news. And Ladakh region or Ladakh, the Union Territory of Ladakh has received its 4th GI tag. That means already 3 GI tags were already given in the last year. So this has been added to the list. We will see its features, its location. Why we have to give importance? Because it has already been asked in previous years. Now, Ladakh has secured its 4th geographical indication this time for Ladakh sea buckthorn. Sea buckthorn, don't get confused. It is related to sea. Nothing to do with sea. Ladakh, we are talking about, it grows only in the colder regions, cold areas, especially cold desert. Keep that in mind. The other three which has previously received GI tag in Ladakh are apricot and pashmina shawl and Ladakhi wood carving. These are the three, what do you call as Rakse Karpo. I think it was asked in one of the state exams or the central government exams as well. So Ladakh has received GI tag for all these products. Apart from that, this is the fourth one, fourth produce from the agricultural area, you can say, food area. So in India, the other 2 points for GI, just for the sake of knowing about it, who gives an identification for this. So in India, geographical indications registration is administered by Geographical Indications of Goods Act 1999. It is under the Act, it has been identified. And what is the procedure? The GI tag is valid for 10 years. Once GI tag is given, so the authenticity of the product, authenticity of the thing, whatever the product is, GI tag is given to, so that the the patent right will be more strengthened, or the duplication of the products will be not there. So one can claim if that such happens. Okay. So GI tag is very important, not only gives an awareness about the originality of the product, but also protection against the false claims or duplication. That is the main idea in here. So looking into the features of the sea buckthorn, what is it exactly, where it is found? So it is found throughout Europe and Asia. Okay, that is the global distribution. In India, it is found above the tree line in the Himalayan region. If you remember the tree line concept we have discussed under biomes, tree line is nothing but the uppermost limit of the tree where they can grow. These are usually found, or maybe in any mountain region, there is something called as tree line, wherein this is the uppermost limit of tree where they can grow on the mountains. On the top of the mountains, there will be nothing, zero. In the sense, it can be rocky area or can be shrub. So trees will not grow on the in the higher altitude, obviously for temperature and precipitation pattern. This is where we find the sea buckthorn, above the tree line. Where? In the Himalayan region. Where exactly? In the cold deserts of Ladakh and Spiti. Spiti is, where do we have Spiti Valley? Spiti Valley. Ladakh, cold deserts of Ladakh and also Spiti. The shrub can withstand extreme temperatures ranging from -43 to -40 degree and is considered drought resistant also. It can thrive with the extreme cold condition, no rainfall at all. Okay, and these two characteristics make the shrub an ideal plant species to establish in cold deserts or cold regions. Every part of the plant, fruit, leaf, twig, root, and thorns, including thorns, has been traditionally used as medicine, nutrition supplement, fuel, and fence. They use these thorns for fence, twigs and roots, or maybe the root basically for fuel, and the fruit for nutrition supplement, rich in nutrition, very rich in vitamin C especially. So it is popularly, that is why it is popularly known as wonder plant, Ladakh gold or golden bush, different names are given. Why it is in use? Because recently it received GI tag, and also why we should consider this as important, because in 2012 this question was asked on sea buckthorn. Okay, this is what we have for today. And questions will be shared along with the PDF, along with the notes. I'll be sharing the questions so that you can answer there directly, instead of, because as it is a live session, and also I'm speaking through via Zoom, so it will be difficult to waiting for your answers as well. So it can help you out in your revision part. I'll just add questions along with the PDF. Okay, when you receive, you can make use of it. So this is what we have for today. Any questions if you have, you can ask, or else we'll call it a day. I think. Okay. So see you in the next class. Thank you so much. Some of you are interactive. Try to be more interactive. That can make me, one thing is I can breathe. Second thing is, actually, the more you speak, the more inputs you give, I can add value to it. Or else I'll have a monotonous session wherein I'll be speaking, and when you bring certain inputs, we can value add to the discussion or to the concept itself. That is the thing. Okay. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much. We'll meet in the next class. Take care and happy learning.